Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Welcome to our second view computer science online classes. In last class we studied some important point, that is from networking concept, the goal of networking, the need of networking, and also the first network, the name of the network was the ARPANET, the Advanced Research Project Agency network here. So now in today's class we are going to study some important concept, that is the OSI reference model. The full form of the OSI, Open System Interconnection. Okay, the full form of the OSI, Open System Interconnection. We know that in our OSI, maybe if any data going to pass, going to exchange or going to transfer from one computer to another computer, some of the layer going to join or some of the layer we need to use before going to pass any information, or how the information going to pass from one computer to the another computer. So before going to start any explanation about all those layer, totally we need 7 layer to pass any information from one computer to the another computer. And we know that some of the diagram is that this is the A computer, the first computer, the source computer, and this computer passing some of the name of unit exchanged information or any information to our next computer. So the host A and the host B computer. And in this diagram also some of the layers we need to use. The layer name are the physical layer, data link layer, the network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and the application layer. So while going to pass any data from one computer to another, we need to use all those type of layer, or what's the work of this layer we are going to study one by one. So first of all, the first layer name is the physical layer. So what about the physical layer and what's the work that is performed by our physical layer? So before going to pass any information, we should know it. First of all, we need to enter some data into our first computer. If any data is there, then only we can pass some information to the next computer. Correct now here? So we can say that the physical layer is concerned with here the raw transmission bits. That means it going to concern with the transmission of raw bits. We know the meaning of the bit, that is the binary digits. Some of the data going to enter, that is from keyboard to the computer here. So the transmission or the transmitting the raw bits over a communication channel, that means into the computer. And while going to transmit, it also deals with the electrical, mechanical, and the timing interfaces. That means it should go in a correct time. The data going to enter into the computer in a correct time. So here we need some of the other mechanisms, some of the other we need to use as the mechanical, electrical, as well as the timing interfaces. So clear this point. So just only in our first layer I want to tell here the data going to enter into the computer, and such a data going to enter, that is from keyboard into the computer in a transmission of data in a bits format. The bit format we will call as the binary digits here. So clear this point here. Okay, now we know about the physical layer. Now let's the next thing about our data link layer. Now we already entered the data, and such a data going to transmit into the computer in a bits format here. Now let's what's the work that is done by our data link layer. So the main function of the data link layer is to accept the data, and whatever the data is there, the transform of raw transmission data into a line. That means maybe if any data is there, many bits are there, all those bits are going to just stand one after the another in this case here. So clear this point. What about here? That means we already enter some of the data by using the layer like our physical layer. Now what's the work that is done by our data link layer? So the main function of the data link layer is that here, so whatever the raw transmission is there here facility, so all those bits are going to stand in a one after the another. That means free of undetected transmission errors, and such data later was passed to the network layer. Clear this point here? So that means such data is there. Now whatever the data we created by using the physical layer, so all those data, that means here we don't want any confusion. Such data should come one after the another in a free of undetected transmission errors. That may, so this is the work that is done by our data link layer, and later what such data need to pass to the layer. The name of the layer is called as the network layer. So clear this point here, the network layer. So now what about the network layer? So the network layer control the operation of the subnet. The meaning of the subnet, we know that the meaning of the net means the network here. That means here many networks are there, and while going to pass the data from one computer to another computer, or maybe sometime the data going to pass from one network to the another network. So whatever, so where the data going to pass, so such network layer controls the operation of the subnetwork here. Clear this point here? And also the main function of the network layer is that it also determine how the packets, the packet means it is not any kind of the gift. That means in packet the lengthy message going to broke down into a smaller unit. Such a smaller unit is called as the packet here. So how the packet are routed from the one computer to the another, or from source computer to the destination computer. So each and everything that is looked by our network layer. So clear this point here. So clear everything about. Now let's shall I select the transport layer, but also again because it's very important chapter, very important concept also. So we know that what's the duty of the physical layer. So the duty of the physical layer, we can say that transmitting the raw bits over a communication channel. Clear this point here? It just transmit the bit of data one after the another through keyboard into the computer here. So this is the work of the physical layer. Data link layer, what's the duty of the data link layer? Whatever the data joined into the computer, it should go in a correct order one after the another without any undetected errors. Clear this point? And such data should go into the layer. The name of the layer is called as the network layer here. And after the network layer, the next layer about our transport layer. We know that the meaning of the network layer control the operation of the computer, control the operation of the sub networking here, and also it going to determine how the packet of information, how the information going to pass, that is from our source computer to the destination computer here. And later next one is about our transport layer. Now let's the duty of the transport layer. We know that the basic function of the transport layer is that, so what's the basic function about our transport layer? The basic function of the transport layer, accept the data from the above layer, that means the physical layer, data link layer and the network layer, correct? No? So one by one the data going to pass from one layer to the another layer. Now the data is there in which layer? The data is there in our network layer. We already know the data link layer pass such data to the network layer. Now such network layer passing the data to the transport layer to do some of the operation. So we can say that the transport layer accept the data from above a layer, that is called as the network layer, and accepting the data later what such a data split it up into के smaller units. Clear this one? It going to use or it going to broke down such a data into part by part manner क्या. So split it up into के smaller units. Clear this point here? If needed and later was such data passed to the layer is called as the network layer. Clear this point here? Accepting the data from the network layer and doing some of the basic operation. The basic operation is just doing or just here we can say that split such a data into a smaller units if needed, and after doing some of the broken down into a parts of such a data, again such a data passed to the layer, that means to the network layer. So clear this point, to the network layer, and also it should ensure that whatever the data arrive, whether it reached at the correct end or not. That means maybe some data, maybe the 4 bits that is came from our network layer to the transport layer. It also going to check whatever the data arrived that is from the network layer to the transport layer, whether such all those data is properly reached again to the network layer or not. Clear this point here? So this is the basic function of the transport layer. With that also the transport layer determine what type of services that is provide to the session layer, not just only accepting the data from the network layer and what's the data accepted from network layer, not just only passing such a data again to the network layer, also it determine the most important function, what type of services that is provide to our session layer. So clear this point here? So now we are in the concept of the session layer. So clear no about till our 4th point here. Now what's the concept of the session layer? So we can say that this session layer here just allow the user on different machine to establish the connection between them. That means we know that here some of the data going to pass from one computer to another computer. So before going to pass any data, we need to make some of the connection in between the computer. So here we can say about our session layer, establishing some of the connection on different machines here, and also such a session layer includes some of the synchronization. The synchronization means connection between the computer. With that it also using some of the token management as well as the dialog control just to make the connection from one computer to the another computer, and after the connection we know that now some of the data going to pass from one to another. Now what about the work of the presentation layer? So clear this point? Clear this point about this one, this session layer, that means allowing the user just to establish connection session between different machine here, from one machine, from one computer to the another computer. So this is the work about our session layer, and after the session layer, presentation layer. So what about the presentation layer? That means before going to present the data to another computer here, just it going to consult or check with the syntax and semantic of the information, whether whatever the information we are going to pass, whether everything is proper or not. Before going to pass any information to another computer, it going to check the syntax. We know the meaning of the syntax. That means maybe if any error, maybe if any mistake, anything is that, or whatever the rules is that we correctly followed or not here, or the semantic is called as the logic of the code here. So whatever the code, whatever the information we return in a logic manner or not, so each and everything that is checked by our presentation layer. So simply we can say that the presentation layer concerned with the syntax and semantic, okay, of the information, and if everything is proper, then we can say that all those bits of information moving around the layer. Clear this point? It going to pass the information to the next computer, and lastly before going to pass any information to the next computer, lastly the last layer, the name of the layer is the application layer we need to use. So what's the work of the application layer? So application layer contains a variety of the protocols. Okay, it holds, it using a variety of the protocol. So some of the protocols that is comes under our application layer are, first one is the TCP/IP. We know the full form of the TCP/IP, transmission control protocol, internet protocol, like that only FTP, file transfer protocol, and such protocol is using just to transfer the file from one system to the another system here. And also with that the most important protocol name, that is the HTTP. Okay, HTTP, the full form is the hypertext transfer protocol. Clear this point here? So we can say that our application layer using or containing a many type or many different types of the protocol, at a variety of the protocol. The protocol are the HTTP, FTP, TCP, IP here, and which are commonly, all those protocol are commonly needed by the users. Clear this point? Maybe to transfer the data here, maybe to make some communication between the computer, maybe to pass some information file from one computer to the another computer. So all those purposes which are commonly needed by the user. So one protocol name I already said, the name of the protocol is the HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol here. So which is the basis for the World Wide Web, and why we using such a protocol HTTP? To access the web pages. Clear this point here? To display the web pages, such protocol. That means the HTTP is a request method protocol. It requesting to the server just to pass any information, whatever the information we need to use from the server. So just only we want to access such a information, just it passing some request to the server. Because of this reason we can access any information on screen. Clear this one? So this is some point about our HTTP. So we can say that the hypertext transfer protocol, and specially used for the World Wide Web here, or it is the basis of the World Wide Web, and we using to access the web pages here. So clear the meaning about our OSI reference model, how the information going to pass from one session layer to the from one layer to the another layer, till the information going to present on monitor or on our user screen. Clear this point? So some of the layers, the physical layer, data link layer here. Clear this point? And later next one, the network layer. After that the transport layer, the session layer, the presentation layer, and later lastly the last name is called as the application layer. Thank you.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.